Because most of this is review, and then I just wanted to get into the concepts of how we can really do this, or how this can be done across the nation and actually pull all these small local factions into a large national movement and actually get organized. I spoke earlier about this guy right here, opportunity cost, and when I first presented this, there must be hundreds of things, at least, immigration, Obamacare, DOJ, and all the different things that they didn't or won't investigate or obfuscate, such as Fast and Furious, the voter suppression in Philadelphia. I mean, there's just so many different things that one can get engaged in. My focus is killing the monster. I don't want to cut the tentacle. And so if you get engaged in immigration reform, then you're missing the monster, and he's growing new arms. Believe me, tomorrow there'll be new problems and scandals. Why would we expect anything different? So my whole approach and my whole premise is to go after that monster. Another premise is reasonable people, equally informed, seldom disagree. And I believe most people in the United States are reasonable. I think most. Probably around the 80%. The problem is we're just not equally informed. Well, maybe she falls into that 20%. What's 1% of America? But there's 300 some million, right? So what would 1% of that be?
30,000.
Million. 3 million. 3.3 million. If there's 330 million, that'd be 3.3 million. I think Nancy Pelosi may fall into that 1%. Anyway, my focus when I started my books and started this intense reform, because that's what it is. It's an intense reform of re-engaging the contract, is looking at the Constitution as a contract. And so in getting the focus down to the very beginning, the contract was designed to provide very limited and defined scope of government for the federal government. In other words, they did not have the ability to just take upon themselves new powers. Founding documents that kind of prove this is the Declaration of Independence, which is our basic foundation of why we revolted against the sitting crown as actually as separate sovereignties. The Articles of Confederation, which was the first initial unification of the colonies, the constitutional debates, the Constitution itself, the ratification debates, so forth and so on. So I don't want to go through all of these, but there's a plethora of founding documents that really identify what the framers were doing and why they created additional arguments. One of them is not up there, I'll go back, is the cod fishery arguments that Madison made in 1790 regarding general welfare and the ability for the federal government to tax. Because that's where he basically stated that if the federal government had all this ability to tax for anything, then it could take over schools, it could take over churches and all sorts of community functions, and that was never the intent of the federal government.